on our AAU side, this is a spring program that we put together every year to try to get teams for every grade level on the boys and girls side, some opportunities to play AAU tournaments here in the Columbus area. So let me share a few uh, keys about our program as we get started. There's a lot of AAU programs in Columbus. Every year I see a few more pop up. Um, and I will just say some of the things that stand out for our program. Uh, as an AAU director and a big believer in uh, trying to prevent burnout in young athletes, trying to prevent overuse injuries, I really value cross training and really value that value that concept of multi-sport athletes. And we really want to support our multi-sport athletes in the program as best we can. Something that we typically get questions about every year. Do you have the tournament schedule yet for what the team would be playing in, even before tryouts? And that's not something we build out free tryouts. What we do, we have players come in and try out for teams. We have 1 to 2 teams from every grade level that we form. The teams are not already built. Even if a player has played in the program in the past, they still need to come to tryouts. They still need to try out and make the team. Um, and once the teams are formed, our coaches check on the weekday and weekend availability of each of the players on the roster, and we take those availabilities of the players and do our very best to craft tournament schedules that allow for the most participation on the team possible, while also seeking to have success, play in tournaments that meet our skill level, etc. We're really blessed in the Columbus area where there are so many tournaments for boys and girls basketball players in the spring that every weekend there's multiple tournaments to choose from. As AAU director, I really try to guide our coaches and our teams to make sure we're getting the right tournaments, that we're seeing a good variety of opponents, and that we're also staying close to home because while we're supporting multi-sport athletes, we also do our best to support multi-athlete families or families that have a lot of different demands. So recognizing that, taking you to a tournament 4 hours away where there's an overnight requirement, that doesn't fit for a lot of the family dynamics that we work with Ohio Sports Plus. If you are a parent of a player that you want to be playing in, uh, I don't know, Chicago, Indianapolis, Detroit, places where you're driving and staying overnight to be in a tournament, we're probably not the best fit program for you. I'm just being really honest. There's plenty of games, plenty of teams here in Columbus that I typically tell our teams when you could beat everybody in your grade level in Columbus, sure, then let's get you seeing some other teams in other places. But really, there's so many opportunities each weekend in the spring to play great games and compete in great tournaments here in the area. Um, so those are some of our key tenets. Those are the things that I think set us apart from some other programs that you might be exploring. Maybe that convenience is a great thing for you. Maybe that's not as attractive. No worries. We're just happy that you're considering the program and you're considering your playing player come to tryouts. Let's talk a little bit about tryouts. You can see our full tryout schedule posted the link there as well as on our Ohio Sports Plus website. You obviously must have seen this information to end up on our info meeting, so outstanding. Um, an athlete only needs to attend 1 tryout for their grade. So as you look on the schedule, every grade has at least 2 tryout times for that age group. You only need to come to one, uh, and whether you come to the first or the second tryout for that age group, that's okay. You're going to get full consideration. We don't fully build the teams until we've completed both of those tryouts. And we also have makeup tryouts available for players that have a conflict, are not able to make those tryout times, find out about the process late, etc. Um, so really, we try to really be supportive. At the end of the day, we're just trying to put together great teams that can come together, grow together, get better together, build some friendships, build some new basketball skills, and have a great experience overall. Um, our tryouts go for 75 minutes. Typically, you'll see them start at the top of the hour or at the half-hour mark. We've got the gym blocked for 90 minutes for that tryout. That allows for us to get them acquainted to the courts and then have plenty of time to run our drills and our gameplay. I run every tryout for every age group. Been doing that for years. It helps me get a good baseline for the talent we have at that group. Allows me to work with the coaches. The coaches are there evaluating players, taking notes on what they're seeing in terms of the drill performance and gameplay performance. Uh, and overall, I mean, we get many eyes on the players, many opportunities to shine. There's no one player, one ability that makes or breaks a player. There's plenty of time to get comfortable, feel like yourself, and get to really show the skills that you have as a player. Our tryouts are closed in the sense that as a parent, you bring your player in, get them set up. Each player will have a number bib that they're assigned. That tryout number attached to their profile in our system. So we're not referring to your player by their name or knowing who they are or even where they go to school. We're just looking at that tryout number and taking notes based on that. And then after the fact, cross-referencing their tryout number with who they are so we can reach out to you and potentially offer them a spot on a team. And I'm getting ahead of myself because we've got a team formation slide. Here it is. Um, so following tryouts, I would say be be mindful you might be getting a telephone call from a number that you're not familiar with. That's most likely the coach of the team for that age group reaching out to you, the parent or guardian, to connect with you and tell you a bit more about the team and offer your player spot on the roster. Um, we ask parents and players to make timely decisions in terms of if they are going to accept that roster opportunity. Really, we want to get an answer back within 48 hours. It's a trickle down effect. I'm sure you can understand as you all accept or decline an opportunity to be on a team. That has a ripple effect with other players that have also tried out for that age group. I would ask you all, like, if you're getting that offer, before you even get the offer, have you had a conversation with the player if you'd accept that offer or not? Um, have that knowledge and decision in mind going into the process. That just allows us to form the team more quickly. The more faster we can assemble a team, the faster we can start practices and get a real great experience. And also, unfortunately, let those folks know that didn't make teams that they were not rostered this year. We do not. There are some programs that do. We do not accept every player to be on a team. Every player that tries out does not make a team. We typically take rosters of 10 to 12 players uh, per age group per team. Sorry, per team in an age group, let's say seventh grade boys is trying out this weekend, there's a high likelihood we'll have at least two seventh grade boys teams, and each of those rosters would have 10 to 12 players on it, probably 10. We won't have a roster with 6 or 7 players on it. That doesn't give us enough flexibility in terms of being away from the team, being ill, some sort of conflict, injury. So we really want to make sure that our rosters are at least 10 on the roster. That allows for great practice habits and great flexibility as the season progresses. Um, Once you're offered a spot on the team and you were to accept that, you'd be guided to a link to register through our League Apps program. That once you've registered through League Apps, it's a done deal. It's finalized. You're on the team, locked in, uh, and and then we can build the team from there. Once our teams are formed, practice will begin. Each team will have 2 practices a week. Uh, some of those practice spaces we've got our Ohio Sports Plus complex. We also rent some school gym space in the Lewis Center area and the other areas around Columbus. But we really try to stay as close to the 270 belt. I'd say we're either going to be 270 in Sawmill or 270 in 23 area. So as you think about what that looks like for travel back and forth from practice, just know that that's kind of the area, that kind of northwest quadrant of the Columbus Metro. Additionally, uh, those practice schedules will be firmed up as we get player availability and try to identify times that practice work for the team. Most practices are either going to be 6 to 7:30 at night or 7:30 to 9 at night. We do have a few spots for our our younger teams that might be 4:30 to 6 p.m., but usually 6 to 7:30, 7:30 to 9. We have some practice times at our complex on weekends prior to the tournament season really taking off. Uh, Once we start playing in tournaments, a typical tournament, you're going to have two games on a Saturday, and then on Sunday, you play games until you lose or you win the championship. So that might be you play one game on Sunday, it doesn't go so hot, time to go get brunch, or maybe you've got three games on Sunday and you end up with one of these banners like you see on the screen. Just depends on how the team does. How you are seated in the bracket on Sunday is predicated on how you perform in those two games you play on Saturday. So every weekend's a little different. You really never know how it's going to go. It's the beauty of basketball. Um, Team fees, I know that's a typical question. Our team fees are $625 for the season. Uh, what that consists of, that pays for all of your practice time, that pays for your full uniform, so shorts, jersey, shooting shirt. Um, that's gonna get your team entered into your five tournaments. So that's the one time we ask for a fee. You can break that up into different payment into two payments if you need to. But we really are honestly we're just trying to cover costs for the most part with that fee. So uh, it's not as expensive as maybe some other programs, not as expensive as maybe other sports. Volleyball, sorry, volleyball. It's just boy, can't believe how much that costs players to get involved in it. Yeah, typically for our middle school teams, our seventh and eighth grade teams, we're going to most likely have two per grade level, just based on we usually have great numbers from middle school tryouts. Um, and another question that came up in chat, if someone attends a makeup tryout, does that hurt their chance of making a team? Absolutely not. It does not. So the beauty is we always have a pretty decent number of folks that are attending the makeup tryouts, so there's still plenty of folks to compete with and have your skill level kind of compared to in the tryout. And we've already had tryouts, so we kind of know where the skill level across the board for that grade level would fall. So no, you're getting evaluated by the same evaluators at the makeup tryout or the in-person tryout on your grade schedule. So nope, we'll consider anybody as long as they're coming to a tryout. I'm, oh, and I'm gonna move, and I know we're kind of going through questions, so I'll just keep answering those as they come through in the chat. We've got a question about how many fourth grade girls teams. Um, Fourth grade girls is tough. We'll always have one. Certainly, I would love to have two fourth grade girls teams. It's just as a matter of do we have how many people come to tryouts like that? It is the beauty of this world. And as an AAU director, I'm always on pins and needles to see who else come to tryouts and how that works. I do know that some of the schedules for players have changed their game schedules based on how many cancellations we had this week. So I would ask if you can come to your grade level tryouts, and if you cannot make those, you should have a makeup tryouts connected to that grade level. So what I would say for Jessica in the chat, I know you've got someone who signed up for a Feb 22 tryout. If you need to change your tryout time, I just put that in the form so I could get an idea of who is coming each week. If you need to at the last minute change the other tryout time for your grade level, you're not locked into that. Come to the one that works for you. You have a better idea of your players' availability and your time and availability now than you probably did when you filled out that form. So just come to the one that works best for you in your grade level. This weekend on the 7th and 8th, it's 7th and 8th grade boys and 7th and 8th grade girls trying out. I would highly recommend that we stick to those groups for those tryouts. That makes sense. And you can send me a message back if that's unclear. What are other questions I could answer for the group? If you want to type them in the chat, you're sure welcome to. Um, and another question, how many teams for seventh grade boys? I would expect to have two teams of 10 for seventh grade boys. In terms of our coaches, I probably have program wide. I think I've got 12 coaches coming back from last year, so I'll have 7 or 8 new coaches coming in. Certainly, if you have coaching interest, there's a part of the registration form where you can note that you'd be interested in helping out as a assistant coach or as a head coach. I'll be reaching out to some of those folks to see if there is still interest now as we get closer to tryouts and have a better understanding of, oh, we might need another team for this group. Are you willing to coach, etc. Um, so that remains to develop, but I've got many established returning coaches coming back. But certainly, if you have an interest in coaching, reach out to me personally. I'm going to put that email address on the screen. So feel free to email me at basketball@ohiosportsplus.com. If you've got coaching interest and you want to talk more about that, I'm happy to set up a call this week and chat more. Great question came in the chat and talked about playing time. Love that question. I'd love to talk about it here. Our philosophy at Ohio Sports Plus is if you're on the team, you should get in the game. Um, and that is honestly also where that conversation ends. So if a coach is getting your player in on the game, that's the bare minimum. For me, a conversation I have with the coaches is if you're taking a player on the team, you should have a role in the team. They should be able to be in the rotation. Don't offer them a spot on the team if they can't get on the floor. That being said, players got to perform in practice, perform in games to earn more playing time. And our philosophy, if there's ever a playing time issue, if your player is unsatisfied about the amount of time they're getting in games, here's how it's solved. That player needs to go to the coach and say, Coach, what do I need to work on to earn more playing time? Playing time should never be discussed between parents and coaches, period. Uh, that is something I will not find acceptable as the AAU director. That needs to be a conversation between the player and the coach to more about, learn how they can earn more playing time. And that's just a great life skill that we can teach young people as they're growing up, because at some point they're going to have a job and they're going to need to be able to ask a supervisor what they need to do to get a raise, what they need to do to get up an evaluation of and a higher title, or if something on their evaluation didn't turn out that right. So we want that to be a player communicating with a coach, asking what they need to work on. This is not a system where everyone gets equal playing time. Now, every coach can have different philosophies, um, but our bare minimum is that every player gets in the game. How much they're in the game really depends on performance, what they're showing in practice and in games. Um, but no, everyone's got to get in. If you've got a situation where the player never sees the court, boy, I want to hear about that. I do. I sure do. But that also should never happen because I'm very clear with our coaches on how to handle this as well. Um, I had a great question from Craig about the limits starting in seventh grade. Thank you for bringing that up, Craig. Starting in seventh grade, to comply with Ohio High School Athletic Association rules, you can have up to 3 players from the same school on the same team. So I'm going to use Dublin Griselle as a fun example. So let's say Dublin Griselle has a bunch of great players come to tryouts. They played all together in Coba, and now they're seventh graders, and they really want to play all together. All 10 cannot happen. You can have 3 max from a school. Um, and that's a rule put in place to help players get experience with new teams, new teammates, um, and for it to not just be school ball continuation. It's a completely different feel, completely different team. So, but they did, I think, 4 years ago, they increased it from 2 players to 3 players from a school. That was really helpful because we've definitely had times at tryouts where we've had 3 great players from the same school, and back in the day, we could only keep 2. Now we could have all 3 make the team. And that restriction starts in seventh grade. So seventh grade and above. So fourth, fifth, and sixth grade, frankly, it could be a Koba team that stays together and plays in the spring. I've seen it. It definitely happens. So You might, if you're coaching or you're on one of our teams at those levels, you might be determined to be like, oh my gosh, it's the whole team from blank. They're all still together. It can happen. That was a great question. To go back to practices and practices per week, the team will have two practices a week, either at Ohio Sports Plus or in one of the gyms that we rent out. Um, I handle all of the practice scheduling for the program. So I get the gym time requests from our coaches. I take it and basically cross-reference it with the gym time that we have available and do my very best to make sure that teams are practicing at times that are good for them. All right. Again, we're getting a lot of questions about how many teams per grade, and I'll reiterate, we're going to have at least one. I'd love to have two for every grade. It comes down to the talented tryouts. I do not want to, I'll never put together a team just for the sake of having a team. The team's got to be viable. That doesn't mean they win every game. In AAU, our philosophy isn't that you should go 24 and 1 over the course of the spring or 24 and 0. You shouldn't go undefeated. We also don't want you to be defeated. You need to win some games. So the the best experience you can have in AAU in the spring is to go about 500, win about as many as you lose, or a little bit more. But you should be losing games. You should. If you are not losing games in AAU, you're not playing tough enough competition. And the whole point of this is it's low stakes basketball that can challenge the player to want to get better, to play against tougher competition, to grow their skills. So yeah, our teams are going to lose games, and that's by design. Um, I I know I coach some of our teams. I would love to win, of course, but um, you learn more from losing than you do winning, which hard to hear and certainly hard for some of our players to hear at times, but it's the truth. So as you go through tournaments, there'll be some heartache, but that's good. Or uh, we can we can learn lessons from games, and it doesn't have to be that you're bad if you lose and you're good if you win. Like you can get better and be successful, but the team doesn't win. Let's see. A couple coaching questions. I have a number of our coaches established for this year. I will still pick up a few more or get folks connected to some assistant coaching opportunities. I have a two deep rule with our teams. So two deep. I want to make sure that we've got two adults in the gym at all times with our teams. Most of our teams, I think if you've seen our slideshows, if you've seen any of our teams, you're going to see multiple adults in those team pictures for the most part because we've got multiple adults that are coaching, offering their perspective, offering their time and talent to support these young athletes. We also want to be too deep because we want to make sure there's safety players, peace of mind for parents. Just it's a much better situation to have two adults making sure that the team has got great guidance, great oversight, etc. If there was ever a time where we only had, one adult able to be there coaching a team, what I tell our coaches, what we're instructed is that we should have a team parent stick around practice, just, read a book, scroll your phone, hang out, just so we've got that second adult there, just in case anything happened. There's a player injury, we need some help with something. We've got two adults there to help solve a problem. Um, many, in terms of parent coaches versus non-parent coaches, we have both in the program. We've got a number of coaches who are there to coach. They love to coach. They love the game of basketball. They're perhaps connected to high school and middle school programs in Columbus. And we got others that, yep, we've had parent coaches as well. Um, I think as you see in Koba as well, it's probably more prevalent to have some parent coaches at the youngest levels. And then by the time we're getting to middle school and high school, far more of those coaches are coaches without any relatives on the team, trying to give the most unbiased perspective as they coach up the team. How long is the season? That's a great question from Nicole. Our season, well, we've got tryouts in February. We're going to have our gameplay for the most part is March, April, and May. We're wrapped up by Memorial Day. I really don't want our teams to play in tournaments on Memorial Day weekend because by that point, y'all are going to be ready to go on vacation, get out of town, stay in town, not be in a gym. So that two practices a week, 5 weekend tournaments, that really takes place from March to May. I'm hopeful that we can get our middle school teams in the gym in mid to late February to start some practices. Uh, but yeah, it's a 3 month season, and there is the opportunity if your team loves playing together and they want to play a sixth tournament together and they have the availability to, we can get a sixth tournament on the schedule. Just for most teams, that's pretty tough based on availability, spring breaks, uh, etc. So we've got 5 tournaments, two practices a week during those 3 months. Just scrolling through our questions, see if there's anything else I might have missed out. And again, all of our tournaments are going to be in the Columbus metro area for the most part. We're not leaving the state of Ohio for sure. But there are so many tournaments to participate in this area. We don't have a great need to go terribly far. Uh, and all of the tournaments that we work with uh, have apps that connect with them. So Ohio Youth Basketball or Ohio Basketball or GBA Girls Basketball Association, they all have their own apps. So the schedule posts that on Wednesday. Typically, the coach should be communicating, "Hey, the schedule's posted. You can all start to lock in the times." Uh, Teams should be at a gyms a half hour before their game time, whether it's Saturday or Sunday. So let's say hypothetically your team has a uh, 10 a.m. game on Saturday. Every player should be at the gym by 9:30. And then every tournament's a little different. Uh, Most places, it's the first team listed is the light color, so white jersey, and the second team is dark. You'll want to look at the specifics for the tournament you're in, but that's typically how it goes. So ideally, you'd get to the tournament site a half hour before game time, get with your team, make sure everyone's in the right uniform, start doing some warm-ups in the hallway, and then when it's your game time, you're ready to get out there, get some shots up before the game, go through quick drills. Warm-ups at AAU are so fast. You typically get 4 or 5 minutes on the court to warm up with basketball. So that means you've got to be doing some stretching and some dynamic warm-ups in the hallway before your game time, just so you're ready to rock. Yeah. Let's see. Other questions that have come in. Is a scenario where you wouldn't have a team, only if we didn't have enough players come out. That is not something we experience over the years, so that'd be pretty surprising. We pretty much plan on having at least one team per age group, and we're not forming a team unless we know we can create the team. So we're never going to have the, "Oh shucks, thanks for registering your player, but now we're not going to have a team." That doesn't happen. Yes, it happens to other organizations. I've heard it happen too many times. I've saved some of them some heartache in the past, but that is not us. We are only making a team if it's a team that can be made. Um, what should people bring to tryouts? That's a great question. Your player should bring with them their basketball shoes. They should not wear those shoes to the tryout. They should wear some other pair of shoes. They get to the tryout, they put their shoes on. Can they bring their own basketball? Sure. I hope you have your name on it, because we want to be able to find that at the end of the tryout because the gym is going to be full of basketballs. If you don't have a basketball to bring or don't want to lose yours potentially, don't bring a basketball. We have plenty of basketballs at the gym. It's a basketball workout complex. So plenty of basketballs to be used there. Bring a beverage, bring a bottle of water, bring a Gatorade, bring something. We will have water breaks. I segment out the tryouts, so there's some warm-ups, some drills, a break, some drills, a break, some drills, a break, and then gameplay. So there'll be opportunities for them to get a rest, get a breather, get a drink, and then get back out on the court. And players should be wearing ideally shorts and a t-shirt, an athletic shirt of some sorts. We're going to put a number badge on the front of their shirts to identify who they are, their tryout number at tryouts. And Jason's question, how viable is it to be a multi-sport athlete in this program? And we really do our very best to support that. It's going to come down to communication and transparency with the coach. Um, and part of the player registration form is for you to note what other activities that might be involved in the spring. We've supported countless track athletes, softball athletes, baseball athletes in the spring in the past, where we get the availability of the players on the team and we do our best to have each team create a tournament schedule where the majority of their players are able to make each of those tournaments over the course of the spring. Um, and then it's important to communicate that with as we're building out our practice schedule. If you know that there's a night that's no good for your player, we just have to note that. Will every player make it to every practice? No, they won't. This is not school basketball where you're practicing 4 nights a week, and if you miss practice, you're benched or you can't start or you're running or whatnot. Like we know you all have a lot going on. So do we. So do the coaches. So do the parents in the program. So does the AAU director. So we know things come up. It's just about communicating. If someone's going to miss a practice, it should never be a mystery. We don't want to be wondering looking at the door if your player's going to walk in or did something happen? We're in a car accident on the way. What's going on? We want to know if the player's going to be at practice that night or not. So do your due diligence, over communicate, make sure you share that with the coach that you're working with. All right, friends. I really appreciate your attention tonight and hopping on this call. Did promise you to be about a half hour, right around there. This session is being recorded. I will edit it and put it on our YouTube channel and then share that out for folks that aren't able to view. So if you're viewing this after the fact, or you're right here with us right now, again, that email address on the screen, basketball@ohiosportsplus.com is your best way to contact me to ask questions and to get any help or show more interest in being a bigger part of the program if you're interested in that. My last shameless plug I'll share with y'all. We're always interested in sponsorships, especially having a sponsor for our shooting shirts. So if you've got a business that you're interested in being a sponsor with Ohio Sports Plus AU this spring, you can reach out to us as well. But thanks so much for your time and attention, and I'll answer any question you've got after this as well. And I can't wait to see y'all at tryouts.